right, good evening. Before we begin our August 19, 2025 regularly scheduled meeting of the Sumner County School Board, I'm going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by a pledge to our flag. Please feel free to join me if you'd like. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, call to order the August 19, 2025 regularly scheduled meeting of the Sumner County School Board. We'll open with roll call. Mr. Johnson. Perfect. Next item on the agenda is adoption of regular agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Adoption of consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, consideration of minutes. Discussion or action regarding the minutes of the July 22nd, 2025 regular meeting. Do I have a motion? Motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Lacy. Comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Recognition and hearing of delegations will open up with Mr. Dave Moomey of the Hendersonville VFW.
Permission to pass this out before us?
Yes, sir.
Evening, Scott. Say good morning, but I've been up a while, I think. Just wanted to hear it.
Thank you.
Alan? Sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sure. Ms. Mars. Way down here at the end is Mr. Lacy. Thank you.
Well, good evening. Do I gotta push something to turn that on? Or is it on? The other one's turned green, that's why I asked. Okay. Good evening, I'm Dave Moomey, Chairman Daniels, Director Langford, and members of the school board. I'm the Senior Vice Commander at VFW Post 9851 here in Hendersonville. And here tonight with me is Ms. Amanda Riddle, who's the president of our auxiliary at the post. We thank you for the opportunity to discuss with you the 6 youth and education programs conducted by the VFW and its auxiliary to recognize the students and teachers in the Sumner County school system. Tonight we'll talk primarily about the efforts of VFW Post 9851 and how we support the schools in the Hendersonville area. However, these programs are VFW-wide and are also available at VFW Post 9806 in Westmoreland, Portland, Gallatin area, and VFW Post 2120 in the White House, Cross Plains area. And those posts work with those schools in their respective areas. The Voice of Democracy and Patriots Pen essay contests are important for encouraging patriotism, fostering a deeper understanding of American values, and providing youth with a platform to express their opinions and ideas while offering the potential for financial awards and educational opportunities. These programs also provide an opportunity for students to connect with veterans and to develop their communication skills. First program I'll talk about tonight is our Patriots Pen Contest, which is for students in the middle school. Students are asked to write a 300 to 400 word essay expressing their views on an annual patriotic theme, which is chosen by the national commander of the VFW, And this year's theme is, how are you showing patriotism and support for our country? The students submit their essays and supporting information via paper copy to their local VFW post, the ones I've just read off, where they will be judged. The overall winner at each post is then passed to our District 4, which consists of posts in the upper middle Tennessee here of Sumner, Macon, Robertson, Trousdale, and Wilson counties. And the District 4 winner then is passed on to the state level, which dates with the 11 districts throughout the state of Tennessee. The national winner will win a $5,000 scholarship. At our post here, we give a monetary award for first, second, and third places. In 2024, we had 13 entries from the middle schools here, and we're here to encourage you to work with your middle schools and the civics teachers, the English teachers, history teachers. They're all different from when I went to school 65 years ago, but to work with their students to put an essay in. And they're all due to the VFW post on Halloween. The 31st of October is the deadline. And we're happy if somebody contacts the post to come to the individual schools to pick up a lot of entries from the particular school and bring them back, or they can deliver them to the post or mail them to the post themselves. Our next program is our Voice of Democracy, which is a competition for high school students. They're requested to prepare an audio portion of their essay. So they take the essay they write, then record an audio on a thumb drive. They send both the thumb drive and the written copy to the post. And again, the theme is, how are you showing patriotism and support for our country? The national winner wins a $35,000 scholarship. So if you got some kids, I think it's worthwhile to spend a couple hours helping them write an essay and get it submitted. Each state winner receives a trip to attend the Founding Forward Spirit of America Leadership event in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, as a guest of the VFW. Again, awards are made at the post, district, and state levels. And again, we do the first, second, and third as we go along and pass them up the line. Several years ago, we had a student from Station Camp that won the state competition, and she ended up receiving over $3,000 in scholarship money. She didn't win the first place position, but she won some additional money. In 2024, we had 8 entries, with 3 from Station Camp, 1 from Hendersonville High School, 1 from Merrill Hyde Magnet School, 1 from Pope John Paul II High School, and 3 homeschooled entries. These contests are open not only to public schools, but to private schools and homeschooled students. The third event we have is our recognition of the Teacher of the Year, and we do that for the elementary, middle, and high school levels. And we would not grade entries for our previous contests for our middle school and high school students if it wasn't for the fabulous teachers we have here in Sumner County. Each school is requested to nominate a teacher. These can be nominated by a fellow teacher or the principal, a parent, a neighbor, whoever. They're not required to be just submitted by the principal. And again, these are judged at the post, district, and state and national level. And awards are given out along the way. The national winners receive $1,000, and the school will also receive a $1,000 award where he or she comes from. I have mailed the entry forms for these contests to the principals and guidance officers at the middle and high schools in the Hendersonville area, including Liberty Creek Beach, Hendersonville, Merrill Hyde. Probably left out one at this point or two, but and the associated middle schools throughout this area. And I'll soon get the Teacher of the Year out as I get through the rest of this week sometime. So I request you to talk with the principals and the guidance counselors about these things and discuss the opportunities for them. The deadline for this tonight is, again, 31 October for all 3 of these contests. I have an ask tonight, which I haven't done before, and that's, is there some way for a VFW member to interact directly at the school level. In fact, driving up here tonight, I live over off of Saundersville Road, and I drive through past all the station camp schools on my way here, and it's all kinds of signs out for Cub Scout meetings. And I know at some point, many years ago, we used to have scout meetings to recruit scouts in the schools, and then that got stopped for a while, and I guess it looks like maybe it's back. And that, I'm pleased with that, because I enjoyed scouting and still do. So if I can work it with the principal or somebody that you might tell me who is a better point of contact to arrange to meet at lunch hour or in the cafeteria or some other event individually arranged at the schools, I would appreciate that information. Now Amanda's here tonight because the auxiliary, as I said, has a bunch of creative art contests. They have 3 contests. They have a 2-dimensional contest, so I guess it's not painting down there, it's a rendering or whatever, but I see all the football stadiums, et cetera, along here, that's 2-dimensional. But who's got a good-looking coffee cup? Anybody got a good, you can make a coffee cup and be part of the 3-dimensional contest. So they've expanded it in the last couple of years to where you can make something with your hands besides painting and art, what I'll call artwork. I guess it's all art depending on where you are and who you do it with. But and again, these are submitted to the Post. Amanda puts together a group of folks that will judge all of those events and entries, and they get, again, as the year goes on, they get entered into the district and state and national levels. And I know a couple years ago, we had a student, Samuel Preston Morgan, who won 4th place in the national contest. So he won $1,500 or something like that. And the national winners will win $15,000 too. So again, my main request tonight is that you work with the board to work with your assigned schools and work in these programs and encourage the teachers and the students to participate. And as always, they can contact me at our Post, and even if they're not in the Hendersonville area, I'll be happy to direct them to the right person throughout the county. So thank you again for the opportunity to discuss these important VFW youth and education programs tonight. Now Amanda and I would be happy to answer any questions you might have. Oh, I left out one because I didn't get the word in time. But in your folder also is, we have an art contest for the elementary school students. So we didn't want to leave that, they didn't want to leave them out. I don't have anything really directly to do with that. And besides, if you started my artwork, you would put me back before kindergarten. That's where my art style comes from. But anyway, there's a 3rd entry in your folder tonight for that. So there's actually the 6 programs. There's 3 art contests, Patriots, Plain Voice, Democracy, and a teacher leader. Thank you, Amanda, for keeping me straight.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
Yeah, 2 things. Our district for this, does it cover all of our Summit County schools? Okay, so can you make sure, I know you mentioned you already gave it or got it to our Hendersonville schools. Can we make sure we get it to White House, Portland, Westmoreland, Gallatin?
So, you know, those posts are pretty active posts, and they generally support the programs in their, each of the VFW areas kind of has an area. I don't poach veterans out of Gallatin or Westmoreland, they don't poach them out of Hendersonville. So we all work together on things like this for the betterment of everybody. So.
There's only one auxiliary or district.
Yeah, there's only one auxiliary no, there's 2. It covers Lafayette up in Macon County. So we have 2 auxiliaries in the district. Okay, there's only one auxiliary in Sumter County over here at our VFW. That's what man is trying to beat into my head over here. So.
Ms. Brittany?
Just to that point, you said that you sent an email to all the Hendersonville schools. Would you mind sending that to the board, and each one of us can make sure that that digital copy gets to our schools?
I have an entry form for each of those contests in the envelope I give you, but I can email it to you if you would like that.
I would love a digital
Okay.
copy. That would be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll dig out your emails. Those are easy to find.
You can send it to all of us with one email. I think it's scsboard@sumnerschools.org, right?
Yeah.
It's all of us at once.
I can figure that out. I can't do this with my thumbs on the phone, you know, I'm not that literate these days yet, but I can do most of the other things on email and searching the website to find your email addresses. I spent many an hour on the school board site digging out your names and other things over the years. And no, I wasn't throwing mud at Scott over there, so. So if you don't have any other questions, thank you very much.
Mr. King, yep.
Yeah, I'm just curious. You were in the armed forces, right?
Yes, sir.
Could I just, in what way did you serve?
I served for 26 years in the United States Navy. I retired as a Navy commander. I did 9 years on active duty and 17 years in the reserves after that. And then when I got off active duty, it was so much fun, I got a civilian job working for the Navy. I have more time wearing civilian clothes on Navy ships than I do have wearing uniforms, and I made 4 deployments to Vietnam during my active duty time.
So, Mr. Lancaster.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, take a quick moment, say a word of appreciation for Mr. Mooney. I don't know if you guys, anytime I have a flag issue in my district or in some of y'all's, I always see it on Facebook around this time of year, and you see like, hey, we need a new flag in front of this school or that school, because over the course of the summer or storms or whatever, you get tattered flags. And Mr. Mooney is the first person I usually reach out to, and I always tell him, like, look, if you don't have one or this is not your district, tell me who I need to talk to. And he's like, oh, I can get you usually. I greatly appreciate what he does and what the VFW does as well. So appreciate it.
I told Alan I was going to charge him for gas this year, so I had to drive out to Liberty Creek Elementary, and I live off Saundersville Road, and I knew where the high school was, and I thought I hadn't finished the middle school yet, so I drove up to the next school. I found that was the middle school, and I keep going around the loop till I ended up at the elementary school way out there. But it's a great campus out there. It's a wonderful facility all the way around out there. So, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick adjournment to break for an executive session. Our attorney's here, and we need to speak with him for a couple minutes. As soon as we get back from that meeting, we'll pick up where we left off. So thank you. All right, I'm going to call us back to session after our executive meeting. Following our executive session, do I have a motion? Ms. Hayes?
Yes, Chairman, thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we provide consent for the board's insurance company resolving the John Doe versus the Sumner County Board of Education case.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item on the agenda is August Director's Report. Mr. Clifford.
I think in the second time, I'll just email everybody a report tonight or in the morning, and if you have any questions, you can ask. I'll be happy.
Perfect, thank you. Next item on the agenda, new business, discussion or action regarding the naming of the field house at Portland High School. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we name.
Can you click your?
Oh, sorry, there we go. Yes, I'd like to make a motion. It's been brought to my attention through several community leaders, Dr. Woods, that we would like to name PHS the high school field house after Coach Glenn Gregory. Coach Gregory was a pillar of the Portland community, definitely instrumental in bringing along the Portland football program. And not only that, just also an icon for everything from education to, all sports. And so I'd like to make that motion.
Do you have a second? Second, Mr. Lee. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, discussion or action regarding policy 5.200, non-tenure and tenure upon first reading. Do you have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All right, Mr. King.
Yeah, trying to kind of get things organized here. Looking at this policy, I just have some questions. Just want to bring up for clarification, policy defines a teacher as teachers, supervisors, principals, director of schools, and all other certified personnel employed by the local Board of Education. And the change that we're making involves dismissal or non-renewal. And I just want to get clarification, our current policy, and by the way, this policy, I looked at this, the last time this was revised was October 20th, 1992. So that's like 3 decades that we've had this policy in place, over 30 years. And I just want to, as this current policy, as it stands, a teacher as defined by the policy, any certified personnel has to be notified 5 days after the last instructional day of the school year, which means, like, I think our current calendar, the school year, the last instruction day is May 20th. So it would be 5 business days after that for any certified employee. So, and that applies to any certified employee. Is that correct? I mean, so right now, as it stands, to dismiss or non-renew a current certified personnel teacher, they would have to be notified 5 days after the last instruction day. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so.
If you're under this proposal, if you're a 200-day teacher, it would be within 5 days of the end of the instructional year.
Right. But right now, it's all, the policy that's been in place since 1992 is all teachers, is what I'm asking. So we're amending, or we're changing the language to create 2 categories. You've got the 200-day, and then we're changing it to anyone beyond 200-day would have to be notified on their last contract day, or the last day of their contract. That's the change. Is that correct?
Well, I think it's delineating between a teacher that teaches 200 days and someone that serves another function in the school system that works longer than 200 days. We don't have 260-day teachers that are teaching kids in the classroom.
Right, but I'm just saying that it's all according, the way the policy is written, it's all certified employees. So right now the policy is, if there is a certified employee who's on a 240-day schedule, right now they've got to be notified 5 days after the last instructional day if they're not going to have their contract renewed or if they're going to be dismissed. That's what I'm just trying to find out what our current policy is, just to get that on the record, and then what we're changing it to is all I'm trying to do. So that's correct, right? That any certified employee right now has to be notified 5 days.
Well, I think the question is what is a teacher?
Right.
And I would kick that to Mr. Presnell.
Yeah, this would apply to, if I'm understanding this correctly, to classroom teachers, as opposed to just everyone who has a teacher's license.
Right, but
not in the classroom.
But my question is, that's the change that we're making, is to make it apply to teachers in the classroom versus all certified, anyone with a teaching license.
I think it's a clarification. That's the way it should be now, is that the policy applies, the 5-day notice is to classroom teachers, as opposed to those working in central office, for example, not in the classroom. It's my understanding that that's what this is trying to clarify, to the extent it wasn't clear.
Okay, so we're clarifying that, but prior to this revision, it's, you know, prior to us voting to make this change, any licensed, anybody holding a teaching license would have to be notified 5 days after the last instructional day. Is that correct?
No, just to classroom teachers.
I'm confused because the policy names a teacher as all other certified personnel employed by the Board of Education. And so prior to this policy revision we're voting on, it says non-tenured teachers. And our policy defines what a teacher is, and it says all certified personnel. And then it goes on to say that at the top there it says, under non-renewal, if the director of schools determined, it says, the director of schools is under no obligation to reemploy non-tenured teachers, and the policy defines what a teacher is at the end of their contract period. If the director of schools determines not to renew the contract of a non-tenured teacher, there's again, teacher, the following action shall be taken. Number one, board shall be notified at the next board meeting. And number two, written notice of non-renewal shall be hand-delivered or sent to the employee by registered mail so that it will be received by the employee no later than 5 days after the last instructional day of the school year. So that's just what I'm trying to, we're changing it to make it, the definition of a teacher is now going to be, there's going to be two categories. Teacher is no longer going to be all certified personnel that has a teaching license, but it's now going to be 200-day, and now we're changing the language to where a non-200-day teacher can be dismissed or non-renewed on or before their last contract day.
Hey, Mr. King, can I jump in here real quick?
Sure.
This is on first reading.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this update was brought forth by Mr. Ott.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we, again, even if we pass it tonight, it's still got to go through a second reading.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we make sure Mr. Ott is here at our next study session to get you the clarity that you need. I don't want our attorney to try to misinterpret what he's reading based on what you're sharing.
Okay.
And cause confusion to us. And since even passing it tonight still requires a second reading, I just want to make sure you get the information you need so that,
Okay.
that you're clear and we're all clear.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll offer some further commentary, just some thoughts on how I'm looking at this. So right now we have, if you have a teaching license, the way the policy is currently, as it currently stands, doesn't matter if you're a classroom teacher or if you're, I don't know, a supervisor or coach or whatever, central office, working 240 or a 260-day employment schedule. Right now you have to be notified 5 days after the last instruction day, versus, let's just say you're a 260-day employee, you could be notified on your last day, so like June 30th, right? And so then, the next school year, the next, contract day would be July 1st. And so my concern is that, to me, it just seems like I would want to give somebody that notice in May instead of having them wait until end of June before they can get all their ducks in a row to find other employment. Is all I'm saying. I think so. One of the things that I'm concerned about is that we're not giving them ample time to kind of, if they're given notice in May, that would give them time to find a new position somewhere. So that's one concern I have about this policy. So,
Gotcha, perfect. Yeah, I just want to make sure that
yeah.
Mr. Presnell has time to read state law. I know there's been a number of changes
Okay.
since 1992, potentially, and the definitions that are in state law, and then the policy, just to make sure we get you the correct answers.
Okay, I mean, I'll just say I'm not ready to vote on this
Okay.
based on that. So, okay, thanks.
Yep. Mr. Lancaster?
Yeah, I'm kind of somewhere on the same page here. The question I have for Mr. Odd is, or I guess, what is why are we trying to do this? Or is there a reason? Is there a state law change or anything? the reason I say I'm more concerned is the way I read the law, because I went and looked at the law as it is written now. I just want to make sure we're not, messing up, because it seems like from a legal standpoint, there's no differentiation, if I can say that word, I don't think I can, between a 200-day teacher and a 260-day teacher from a legal standpoint. So if we have a policy that's different, I would like Mr. Presnell to just say, hey, you're fine. I just don't want to get in a situation where we have a new policy, and this new policy says, hey, teacher or whatever that's on a 240 or 260 day, we can let you know notice of non-renewal on June 30th based on your calendar that you work, versus what the law says with the 5 day. That's so.
And I also think Mr. Ott can help answer that question as to why this was brought forward.
Yeah, that would be the two. And I mean, I'm kind of, I guess I would make a motion that we table it until we get an answer on those two. Because I can't vote on it right now because I'm concerned reading the law. Because usually these are like, oh, we read the law and like something has changed in the law. I could not find where anything changed in the law that the reason we're doing that. So.
Well, let me ask this question real quick. Yeah, I've got a second. Before we go to that, just let me ask this question, Dr. Langford and Ms. Presnell. Is there any reason why we have to pass this in the next 2 months? Okay. All right. Then
No, sir.
I just wanted to ask that before we. So
that's where I'm at. Is it just doesn't. I don't understand what.
I've got a motion to table this until some later date. All right. So that's on the table. I've got a second. So any comments on tabling? All right. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Motion carries. All right. Thank you, board. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. Discussion or action regarding policy 5.307, physical assault upon second reading. Do I have a motion? Second? Second. Any comments? Yep.
Yeah, just one question. Trying to understand the differentiation around an hourly employee is not eligible to receive the continued pay or benefits if he or she has been employed by the district for less than one full pay period. Just trying to understand the why behind that. Is it probationary period for that hourly employee?
Go ahead. Yeah.
What paragraph is that in?
It's the bottom of the second paragraph, the very bottom,
Gotcha.
last sentence.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics, but I think it's around probationary period.
Okay, that's the only thing I could think of, just trying to understand why that was different.
Any other questions?
It looks, Ms. Barnes, it looks like there's a footnote at the bottom, it's like it's in the Tennessee Code.
Ms. Brittany?
I actually want to, that's a really good point. Is there a reason why if we had a physical assault on someone at their 29th day by another member within the school while they were doing their job, we wouldn't want to include them in this? Is there any reason we can't strike that line?
This may be one that we need to let Mr. Presnell analyze because it is in the Tennessee Code. Because I pulled up the footnote.
Is there, again, is there a reason that this needs to pass immediately?
No, sir.
Because this is, I believe, second reading. So let me go to Mr. Lancaster. Again, if we were to vote no, then that would just bump it to a study session as well.
I'm kind of with my fellow board members over there. I think we table this and get a definition from Mr. Presnell on that, because I agree. I mean, if I understand it's in the law, and I think it's the law was written to protect employees.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, hey, we just wrote this way, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I don't want it to come, somebody to get started on day one and 2 weeks later, hey, I got beat up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we say, hey, guys, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. we-
I don't think that would be anybody's intention.
Right, so that's,
Let's,
if we can fix that from.
So I've got a
policy.
motion table. Do I have a second? All right, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? All right, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, discussion or action regarding policy 4.3012, middle school athletics upon second reading. Got a motion to approve second, Ms. Brittany?
So I actually have 2 comments around just the policies that we're changing tonight. One doesn't apply so much here, but I want to bring it up. I noticed that in the first policy we saw it said director of schools, and in the second policy we saw it said superintendent of schools. And I think I'd like to see us be consistent with that. As we change policies, let's change to superintendent of schools, since we decided that we're moving forward. I don't think we need to do everything all at once, but as each policy comes up, if we can switch that over as part of the change. The other thing I want to understand better is why we would need to move middle school in particular earlier in August, because to me then that moves them being able to practice earlier in the summer, and I mean heat just seems like a real good reason to not move those earlier, as we are in 100-degree week.
Yeah, I think so. It's a bigger. I think this would be something we could ask middle school principals and ADs to look at. After obviously we've already started this year, but I think some of it has to do with field usage. Some of it has to do with when middle school basketball starts. So you have a lot of athletes that overlap, and so they typically start basketball after fall break, and so they try to wrap up football before fall break. All of it's governed by the wet bowl, but we actually have this would be good because we had some questions from the media this week about heat indexes and things like that. So just so y'all know, we don't want kids to go outside if you can fry eggs on the sidewalk. Like, we want kids to have recess, we want them to have the right time, but we don't want them to be outside for an extended period of time if it's too hot. Same with athletes, like our trainers, like the standard that we use is more rigorous than what the TSSAA provides for heat index. So the trainers use a wet bulb to determine the temperature. So they're limited on when they can be out there in heat, and honestly in July and August it's kind of all over. Like this year, like mid-July was cooler than like the last 2 weeks, so it's kind of, but I definitely think it's something that we can review because it is early.
I'd also like to hear just from parents in general, if we have, this year we started on the first week of August in school, but most years we don't start quite as early as we did this time. And if we start later, like a second week in August, and that means that's 5 weeks before the school starts that parents have to commit to being in town. Families have to, it seems early to me, but I'd love to hear from the principals.
Yeah, football always starts after the dead period. So that's not going to probably change.
Well, this says practice starts 4 weeks prior to the first game.
Right, but that's in pads. They're already, they practice in June and July. Like if you have a kid that plays football, they have workouts in June, and then you have the 2 week dead period, and that's why everybody goes to Florida the 2 weeks. But I think Ms. Breen, I think it would be good to just there'd be some things we could do with our county AD to have some presentations about some of these, if that's something that you're interested in.
Well, and one thing I mentioned, I've got a son who plays football. He's up here right now, up at that field. But they did practice, outside of pads. And I will say that, because the original policy said the second Tuesday, they were going to have to adjust their schedule and play, I think, on a Monday or something. It was going to kind of throw some things off, just scheduling, because I know in football the goal is, as Dr. Langford said, they want to have the county championship game the Saturday of fall break. And that means if you back off from then, you're typically, if you're going to play 8 games, it's going to be those 8 games, the 8 weeks before. That's how they've got to fit all of those in. So this would have benefited what they were doing this year as far as adjusting the schedule. But I think that's the reason for that, because we're starting school early.
And there
I'm
are
not saying
also-
it's right. I'm just saying that's part of the reasons for it.
There are also policies in here in this time of acclimation. So you don't go out the first day in all the pads. There's an acclimation process. Doesn't make it any less hot, but it does.
So at this point, I think I'll move to defer to the next month and ask that we get feedback from the middle school principals prior to the next reading.
Yep, I've got a motion to defer. Do I have a second? Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
I got a question.
Oh, hold it.
So this motion is to postpone it until the next meeting, is that right?
Yeah, this is second reading, so
Okay.
this one would just defer to the next meeting so that we can take questions.
Okay.
Yep. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, discussion or action regarding amendments to the general purpose budget. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? All right, any comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, discussion or action regarding amendments to the federal budget. Do you have a motion to approve? Second? Comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion of study session items.
We just moved a whole bunch of stuff by deferring that will appear at the study session. Also, just want to remind everybody that because of Labor Day, our study session is on September 9th. I think it's because of Labor Day, right? Yeah, so September 9th, and the voting session will be on the 23rd of this month. If anybody's got anything else, feel free to contact.
All right, comments from the board? Lacey? Barnes?
Yeah, just, it's been a moment since we've started school. It seems like probably for teachers and students, probably seems like months, but just excited to watch the schools across the counties and the teachers and the students. Seems like we're having a successful start to the school, and excited and in prayer for us to have a safe school year. Also, there's a small football game Friday night for Coach Gregory. I've got to say, go Panthers. I think we will also, it's exciting that we'll be doing a ribbon cutting for the new stadium at Portland High School. So 6:45, if you can be there, and cheer on the Panthers, except Megan.
Thank you. Ms. Stewart?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to Mr. Mooney for his presentation. Opportunities for the kids to cash in on this is way out there, and congrats to all the AP scholars tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Brittany?
It was great to see all those AP scholars tonight, and I just wanted to also say congratulations to them. And I also wanted to say congratulations to our new principal over at White House High School. I think he's doing a great job so far, and very much enjoying their Takeover Tuesdays on their Facebook page. So I would recommend everybody go check out their new updates and get to see a whole variety of what's going on in our community.
Ms. Ross?
I'd just like to say kudos to our maintenance and all the people with the heat that's been going on. I know there's a lot of issues going on with some of the schools, and I think we're navigating those really well right now. And the temperature is supposed to be coming down, so hopefully that will be going away. I'm also excited that Merrill Hyde is now going to have a girls' high school flag football team that I'm going to help coach. So that's going to be a fun time coming up in the spring. Hopefully we'll get to play you guys, but
Watch the officials.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Mr. King?
Yeah, I actually have a lot of questions for the director, but I'll send an email. Just a heads up, I was going to ask about, when did we start adding AP classes in the district and all that? But I can put that in an email. I was going to ask about English curriculum. I've heard that some schools are having to pay for it. I heard Beach High School had to pay for their curriculum. I just wanted to get a clarification on that, and would it be possible for us to reimburse them for that? And so that's another question I have that I wanted to bring up. And then the final thing, I'll just say, the playgrounds. If you guys don't know, the county commission approved, giving us, I think, around $800,000, which brings the total now with our 250 to just at $1 million for this effort, which is I think
Thank you, County Commission.
which I think could get a great meaningful start to this thing. at our May meeting, there was discussion of getting a playground task force together in September. So I was going to ask about that as well and see how that's going, or if there's plans for that. And if you guys haven't checked your email, Ms. Erin Kortner sent the board an email today with a ton of information on accessible and inclusive playgrounds. There's a lot of great stuff in there. I had a brief minute to kind of go look through it and click on some of the links. Some really great videos. There's some great information. It's very thorough. And if there is a task force, I would like to recommend that she be put on that. So as we get into those discussions next month, just keep that in mind. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Evans?
Nothing really. Just good luck to all of our teams. Everything's starting up. All the sports. Just praying for safety and good sportsmanship.
Also, Mr. Lancaster?
Yeah, so Saturday I went to the Regional Special Needs Expo that First Baptist Church in Hendersonville held. Dr. Langford and Miss Julie Daniel, thank you, I'm terrible with names, both spoke, and you know, it was very good, you know, event. A lot of information, a lot of vendors there. Vendors from the standpoint of people that are, you know, organizations in the community that help, you know, special needs families and things like that. But Dr. Langford did bring up the playground committee, and I'm hoping that we see that on the study session. You know, some of the parameters behind that on the study session next month, or not next, well, yeah, next month, but in a few weeks. And outside of that, I think I had 2 things, but I can't remember, so I'll just skip that and go on.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes, it's been a minute since I got to have so much fun on the first day of school. So I wanted to share what I got to do on the first 2 days of school. On the first day, I went over to Lakeside Park Elementary and spent the morning helping Christy Petty, the principal over there. And we did the car rider line. And so she had very specific rules, and so a lot of parents got in trouble that morning, but we had a lot of fun directing them, and I got out there and got to do the wave and all that kind of stuff too. So that was a whole lot of fun. Tuesday I went over to Gene Brown with Mr. Perrick and spent the first part of the morning with him, and so that was a lot of fun, and so I really enjoyed that. And so that's all I have, but it seemed like a really good start for the school year for those 2 especially.
Thank you. Ms. Hayes?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. It was a great celebration tonight of the AP scholars and distinguished scholars and the research and the capstone. They're amazing. In the 11 years I've been on the school board, that number has just increased exponentially. And that's just really exciting for this county. Exciting for the parents because those are dollars. Those kids are getting credit hours for those courses that they're not having to pay for in college. So parents are very excited. I appreciate the district's leadership in setting it up. It was a wonderful event. So thank you. And Mr. Daniels, see you Friday. HHS is football season. HHS will be at Gallatin. I know we've done this before.
I saw, just before you go, I saw Mr. Sawyers tonight. Told him I still owe him a check. So I'll still be good for that.
Okay, so
I'm expecting a check to match after Friday's game.
Okay.
Made out to the quarterback club
All
or
right.
the resource center
We'll shake on that.
on behalf of the QB club.
There you go. Sounds like a great plan. So,
Thank you.
Loving football season. Thank you.
All right, hey, I've got just 3 quick things real quick. Number 1, according to state law, in order to look at director contracts, we have to appoint a board member to spearhead that. So I'm going to appoint Ms. Hayes to work with Dr. Langford. She's going to work with him on any contract adjustments, and then that will be brought to the board for discussion. Number 1. Are you comfortable with that, Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
All right. Number 2, I believe we've got an engineer's report that's going to be emailed out.
Yes.
Dr. Langford let me know that we actually, it's in your box right now.
Oh, wonderful.
It's right here.
That's why.
So this is the engineer's report. So it'll also be emailed out, but this is for you all to review. If you have questions on that, feel free to reach out to Jeremy or staff. They can answer those as well. And then number three, just to wrap well, number three, I also want to say, it's been a great start to the school year. I think it's been our teachers, our staff, outside of parents in drop-off lanes, it's been phenomenal, but that's always a problem. But number four, Mr. King, you mentioned playgrounds. You mentioned the money from the commission. You mentioned the task force that's going to be formed. One thing that I think is really important, and I know Dr. Langford mentioned this when we had this initial discussion back in May, and I want to make sure it's not lost on the board. I'm grateful for the commission giving us the additional funds. You're correct. That puts us at about $1 million right now that we can use to upgrade playgrounds. I hope that we as a board and as a task force don't look at that as the max. I hope we look at that as a baseline. When we went and we approached the stadiums, the goal was we want to make sure that we build something that lasts long term for those students, and I think we delivered on that. I want to make sure that when we put a proposal together for upgrading our playgrounds, that we shoot for the moon, right? That we try to give them the best possible playground experience we can, and that's probably going to cost more than $1 million. So when Dr. Langford comes back with the proposal and the task force comes back, I want them to tell us what the expectation is, and then we as a board can figure out how we're going to make that happen. It may not be that we can get to where we want to be in 1 year. It may be that it's a multiple year plan where we take the $1 million, we start the process, but we've got a plan over the next 2 or 3 or 4 years to make sure that happens. I want to do something at all the schools, obviously, so that every kid has a chance to play on the playgrounds. But I don't want anybody on this board to think that, hey, we've got $1 million to spend, and then we're going to look at other things. I want that to be the baseline for us, all right? And so with that, meeting adjourned.